An optimist is a person who sees a green light everywhere, while a pessimist sees only the red stoplight. The truly wise person is colorblind. Hello everybody, this is Bob with Fun with Photoshop. In this video, we're going to explore colorblind artists of the past and present. When we look back in history, there are a few colorblind painters that pop up, but most of the time they disappeared into history. Let's take a look here at Peter Milton. Peter Milton was 32 years old when he found out he was colorblind. All of the paintings he had produced prior to then had incorrect colors in them. Incorrect in the sense that when he asked colleagues to evaluate them, they would say the sky was rather pink, when that was not the color he intended to portray. For Milton, greens look more like a neutral gray with some yellow, and the color maroon looks like mud. Milton didn't abandon art, but he did abandon color. He started doing engravings and prints in black and white. Milton's image, titled Mary's Turn, features Mary Cassatt and Edgar Degas paintings hanging on the wall. It is said that Degas and Cassatt also had compromised vision. It's thought that Degas had a congenital retinal problem. Mary Cassatt had a different problem. She developed cataracts fairly late in her life. Some other artists that were colorblind: Claude Monet. Monet had cataracts that eventually caused him to lose the ability to tell colors apart. Charles Maron, who was famous for his etchings of Paris, was also colorblind. Most artists that found out they were colorblind just typically ended up switching to printmaking or sculpture. I don't miss color. It helps to have a disability. I use that word. It's a strong word, but it helps to have a disability because when you can do anything, which of all the things you can do are you going to choose? So something has to help you make the choice. As with myself, I'm fascinated how artists of the past were still trying to pursue and explore art even though colorblind. I personally wanted to learn how to paint. I got into photography because it was basically easier than painting artwork from scratch. No colors to mix. Sometimes I wonder if these artists from the past would have followed the same path as myself, if only they were afforded the option of digital photography. I am convinced that these differences in vision are of no importance. One sees as one wishes to see. It's false, and it is that falsity that constitutes art. The list of modern colorblind photographers and digital artists isn't very long. I presume that's because so many of them are in hiding or not actively advertising that they're colorblind. One artist and photographer that gave me inspiration to get into photography is Joel Grimes. He's been in the industry for decades, producing his own look, feel, and brand, despite being colorblind. Talking with Joel, when I asked him for any pointers or tips or tricks for another colorblind photographer, which was me, what he told me was very profound. He said it's all about the art. The colors don't matter so much. All the things that were stressing me out shouldn't even matter. Get out there, create your art, and develop your own look, feel, and brand, and the rest will follow. So, taken away from my talk with Joel Grimes, it really empowered me to push harder and to try even more harder at producing my own artwork. I always knew, and I've always had this uphill battle as a digital artist, knowing because I'm colorblind, everything's going to be harder. It's not that I can't do it, it's just going to take more time, more work, more effort, and essentially to get to the same point as someone that's not colorblind. And looking through a list of people that are colorblind, you can see that, like I said before, even though a lot of these people found out that they were colorblind later in life, that still pushed them harder, or maybe even just in a different path but to still stay artists, true to their heart. So for those of you that are watching this video that are colorblind yourself, that's all that I can give you in terms of words of encouragement, is to just keep doing what you're doing. Now, if you're trying to paint and you're having problems mixing colors and all that, well, keep practicing. Or you can always switch your medium. If you want to learn how to paint and it's too hard or too complicated, get into photography. Once you can learn the basics of color, light, and all that, maybe you can revisit painting someday. If you're into photography and you're having issues with trying to set white balance or edit images in Photoshop or anything like that, you can always change your branch of photography. You can explore studio photography. Studio photography, you can control the lighting more. You can control and remove any light casts. So just keep doing what you're doing. And be sure to check out the rest of our videos in this series on being a colorblind artist, and more specifically, using Photoshop as a colorblind person. It's said that 10% of men are colorblind these days. So that means there's a high rate that there's a lot of artists out there that are colorblind, just trying to figure things out in your own way. So as someone that's been doing this for 4+ years myself, all I can say is just keep getting out there. Keep doing what you like to do. That's what it comes down to. So if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and check out our next video in this series.